Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is nonviolence and reconciliation, and we're fortunate to have with us to talk about nonviolence and reconciliation Dr. Bernard LaFayette, the president of American Baptist College. And Dr. LaFayette, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you.
Dr. LaFayette, you know, we've had you on the show a number of times, and we've talked about a number of interesting things. And today we're going to talk about nonviolence and reconciliation. But before we get into that, let's talk about Dr. Bernard LaFayette, and to have him to give us some information about his background, his education, and some of the things that were important and significant in your life in leading you to the presidency of American Baptist College.
Well, thank you very much. It's an interesting journey to come to American Baptist College back in 1958 from Tampa, Florida, graduated from high school, and to pursue an education in Bible theology at the American Baptist Theological Seminary, it was called in those days. It's since become the American Baptist College. The experience was one that I felt was destined, because I had gotten a 4-year scholarship to Florida A&M University in there in Tallahassee, but I was led to the American Baptist Theological Seminary because of my interest in theology and Bible studies and that sort of thing. It was fortuitous that I was here at a time when we had the sit-in movement, and it was ready-made for me because I had long wanted to be involved in helping to bring about those kind of social changes. I never did agree with segregation as a child, and it was something that I disdained, and the cruelty, the punishment, and unnecessary injustices suffered by people of color. I felt that whenever I had an opportunity to do something about it as an adult, that I would take advantage of that. And surely, at the age of 20, I got involved in the sit-ins right here in Nashville. This catapulted me into these freedom rides of '61 and summer work and a stint with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. I was one of the founders. We founded it back in 1960 in Raleigh, North Carolina, Shaw University, where a number of us, Diane Nash, Marion Barry, Jim Bevel, John Lewis, all of us were involved from Nashville and participated. James Lawson was our mentor because he taught us about nonviolence. He had studied in India with Gandhi's followers. So we really got a in-depth knowledge of nonviolence as a philosophy. I later went on to work with Martin Luther King and helped to lay the groundwork for the Selma movement and the Chicago movement and the spring mobilization against the war in Vietnam. And ultimately, I was appointed by Martin Luther King as the national coordinator for the Poor People's Campaign, which was his last campaign, and the staff position with his organization was the National Program Administrator. So my job was to supervise all of the directors of various programs. Hosea Williams, who was over voter registration, and Jesse Jackson over PUSH, and Jim Bevel over direct action, and all of those colleagues of mine with whom I grew up. I was second in line to Honorable Andrew Young as the vice president for the organization. I stayed with Martin Luther King until his death in Memphis, Tennessee, in the course of developing the Poor People's Campaign. I was with him the morning before his assassination. And one of the things Martin Luther King said to me was that he wanted us to, at all costs, to embrace nonviolence and not to abandon it, because he predicted that violence would prevail during this period, but that in the near future, violence will take its course, and the people will understand that nonviolence is a better way. And sure enough, his prophecy, once again, has come true. After Martin Luther King's assassination, I went to Boston University Law School and then pursued my education at Harvard University, a graduate school of education, where I received a master's and a certificate of advanced study and the doctorate in education. And my focus was the pedagogy for nonviolence.